Well, as Dean of the School of Business, in a nutshell, my responsibilities are to lead and manage an academic unit, which is much like a business. And my experiences as a CPA have given me a really good insight into what are best practices, how to execute strategy. And so as a Dean of the School of Business, I'm already well equipped by my experiences as a CPA, not only in having my own practice, but also helping clients and working through their own. There was also a lot of skills and abilities and just good habits that I obtained through my practice experience, such as project and time management, working with high net individuals. And I think one of the most important really habits that everyone needs to learn is consistency and reliability. If you don't show up, you can't play. And I think that not only do clients, but stakeholders really value consistency and reliability. And having been a CPA with practitioner experience has given me an extreme competitive advantage over my peers and colleagues in that regard. And it has been a wonderful benefit that I didn't realize would realize itself in the deanship role. My biggest challenge personally to becoming certified was actually passing the exam. And let me explain. I always did well in school. School was always easy for me. I don't want to be arrogant about it, but I was focused when I was in school. I did my work. Again, I practiced good behaviors that would complementary to the CPA profession. But once I got my degrees, my bachelor's and master's degree, and went to work in public accounting at Arthur Young, there was a period of time there where I felt entitled to become very focused, if you will. And so it distracted from passing the CPA exam. At that time in 1986, you had limited opportunities to actually sit for the exam. And so I needed to refocus myself in order to pass the CPA exam. And that was probably the greatest hurdle for me. But I solved that by just reminding myself of what my career goals were, how I had stayed focused and accomplished my goals as a student, and that the barrier to entry point is a valid one, and I needed to pass that exam in order to proceed in my own professional career. What I literally experienced was, I went to work at Arthur Young for 3 years. At 26, started my own practice. So it gave me the opportunity to become self-employed right away. And that flexibility later became instrumental in allowing me to go back to school and get a PhD because it was so flexible. And you had the stability of clients. If you're a good practitioner, and you're knowledgeable, you'll keep your clients. And so I earned a doctorate degree while at the same time I was practicing, and did that all on my own time as I needed to do it, which is really why I'm here today as a dean and not as a practitioner, because had I not had that flexibility, I could have never gone back to school. And who can afford to go back and to school after you've been earning, a practitioner's salary? So I was going to kind of talk about that, but I can certainly talk about the stability issue because you're right. I mean, I've never had a period of unemployment. Self-employment, which was invaluable, by the way, but never unemployment. And for, again, not wanting to be arrogant, I don't concern myself with it at this point in my life. Well, my lifestyle today is a direct result of becoming a CPA and joining the accounting profession. I went to work in the tax department at Arthur Young at age 23. I was in the Dallas office, and I worked there for 3 years, and at age 26, I decided, along with some of my colleagues there, to open a public practice in Arlington. So right away, I became somewhat independent, but very responsible for really my own lifestyle. But my individual personality, or my personality, is such that suits me perfectly. I practiced in Arlington for approximately 4 years. And at that time, I decided that I wanted to pursue an advanced degree and go into education. Having been a CPA or being a practitioner in a public practice allowed me the flexibility to go back and earn a doctorate degree. Without that flexibility, I would not be here today with a terminal degree and serving as a dean of a major school of business at an institution. I think that the flexibility factor is incredibly valuable to most individuals, and having a license and being a consultant, that affords you that lifestyle to pursue other avenues or outlets for your life. I also think that my move into education is really driven by two things. One, I was raised in Waco, where Baylor University is at, and I was of the income level I could never afford to go to Baylor University. So it was always kind of like a institutional envy is what I called it. I never could go to Baylor, but I wanted to be a person with an advanced degree because my family never had advanced degrees. And so it was always something that was a burning need inside me, as well as the opportunity to give back and work with students who, much like myself, come from families of moderate means. The CPA license is a wonderful pathway to a professional career for students of all income levels. And so being able to work in an environment where I could assist students achieve the same type of success I had was incredibly important to me. I think it's a wonderful career path because of the stability factor, the flexibility factor, and the outlets that you can achieve throughout your career because of the fact that you hold that professional license. The work to become a CPA was absolutely worth it because becoming a CPA has given me the opportunity to pursue as many different interests as I possibly have. I think the field of accounting is highly diverse. Every organization needs certain individuals with certain types of skills. Financial skills is always an integral factor of success. So as I completed my period of time in public practice, I found that I could have gone into anything from charitable organization work to educational work to arts to sciences. It was literally my choice of choosing along the landscape of what I wanted to do. And so having that opportunity to choose what I wanted my life to be really came about by virtue of having my CPA license. And clearly I chose the educational path. How long I stay in education, I don't know. I hope to live a long time. And when I decide to go on to my next career path, having a certificate, being a member of profession, will again give me many opportunities I otherwise would not have. In the near term, I see myself continuing in the path that I have already set for myself, which is my deanship role at Texas Wesleyan. I have numerous goals that are 5 years out that need to be accomplished, which brings some recognition to the university at a global level. I've already achieved some national recognition for the university, want to achieve some global recognition for the university, and once that goal is achieved, my long-term or intermediate goal would be to become more involved in global education. I think there's a lot of sharing that goes on in my profession, which affords itself to a lot of travel, a lot of site visits, and there are different levels of accreditation that I'm actively involved in, both at the national and the global level. And I'll be making soon my first international trip to Dubai. It's an American university in Dubai. I'll be doing that in the fall. So it'll be the first of what I hope to be many international visits to universities around the world to share best practices, but also to evaluate one another and improving management education, and certainly within that accounting education for all the students that are interested in pursuing that type of degree. Some of the more memorable moments in my career, and I'll break them up by practitioner experiences and of course those that I've had in education. As a practitioner, I think one of the most memorable weeks of my life was a week when I worked 80 hours, which during tax time is a bit out of the range, and I can remember that time in my life. It seemed like it had been a month, and it was only a week, but it was a wonderful learning experience. We talk about compressed experiences in the public accounting area. That's why you go to work for large firms, or why you have a public accounting experience, because you want a lot of experience and knowledge all gained in a short amount of time. It helps accelerate your career, helps accelerate your experiences. And for me personally, I always talk about failure. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure just tells you what your limits are. And I didn't fail that week. I actually was still standing and walking and talking at the end of the week. So I felt like I had gone through something that was a one-time experience, however, because once I did it, although I felt successful, I did not want to have it again. Another practitioner experience or moment that was highly memorable to me, and I still think about it to this day, is getting a client a approximately $30,000 interest and penalty abatement from the IRS. And it was at a time back in the 80s when you could still go down to the federal building and the IRS had a window and you could sign on a clipboard and you'd walk in and talk to those folks. And I'll never forget going down there and talking to this agent who was very understanding of the circumstances, then going back and delivering that news to the client who to my surprise, with hindsight bias, says, "Oh yeah, I knew you guys were going to take care of that." So he didn't realize or didn't understand or appreciate just how difficult that was, but it was an accomplishment that when I talked to other peers about it, they're somewhat surprised because it's not always something that you just walk down and take care of in an afternoon. In terms of my academic experience, I would say the most surprising or the memorable moment to me was actually when I was asked to become the interim dean. And the reason that was a surprise is because, well, first of all, I was asked twice. I turned it down 2 times because I didn't really feel like I was ready. And so having been asked to serve in this role, which is a role of great honor, but also one of responsibility, I just remember it vividly because I just didn't feel like I was ready at the time, didn't understand why I was being asked to do it. And I remember being asked to do the interim deanship role more than I remember actually getting the job now. So I couldn't honestly tell you who told me I got the job when I got it 3 years ago on a permanent basis, but I do remember vividly getting the interim job because it was such a surprise and something that I was fortunate to have a boss who saw more in me than I saw in myself. And then I think the next thing would probably be, again, pursuing the national recognition for our school, obtaining that. I remember that day very vividly. It was something that is vivid for me, not only because, again, it was a great accomplishment for me, but it was a shared one with the faculty. We all worked really hard, and it kind of flashed me back to a time in my practitioner experiences where people worked together as teams, and after a period of time, they could celebrate benchmarks, whether it be April 15th is over, whether it be a successful position defended for a client. This was something that I had not many experiences in the academic world of, but that particular experience resonated much like the ones I had in public practice.